From the very first moment Clara Reynolds walked into the Grand Davenport ballroom, she knew she was out of place. The chandeliers sparkled above her head, their light reflecting on the polished marble floor like a sea of stars, and everywhere she turned were faces she had only ever seen in glossy business magazines. Tall men with sharp suits and sharper smiles, women in glittering gowns who laughed with practiced grace, and young heirs and heiresses who floated about as though the entire world had been designed to orbit them. Clara, with her simple light blue dress and quiet demeanor, felt invisible, a shadow in a room full of blinding lights. She wasn't used to gatherings like this, and truthfully, she hadn't even wanted to attend. But her father, Richard Reynolds, the CEO of Reynolds Technologies, had insisted it would be good for her to be seen, to make connections, to prove to herself that she belonged. What neither of them knew was that before the night was over, Clara would not only be seen, she would be remembered, but for all the wrong reasons. The moment it happened was so small, so ordinary, and yet it cut deeper than she could have imagined. She had been making her way through the crowd, clutching a glass of sparkling water, when she accidentally brushed against Victoria Davenport, the eldest daughter of the powerful Davenport family. A drop of champagne spilled onto Victoria's shimmering diamond-studded gown, and before Clara could even open her mouth to apologize, a cruel laugh rang out. "Do you even know what this costs?" Victoria sneered, her voice dripping with disdain. "Oh wait, you wouldn't. Isn't your father's company the one barely hanging on these days?" Her words echoed through the hall, and within seconds the laughter of others joined in, each chuckle like a dagger piercing Clara's heart. Then Anthony Davenport himself, the patriarch of the family, stepped closer, his voice smooth yet laced with arrogance. "Don't be too hard on her, darling. Not everyone was born to rule. Some people are simply background characters in life's story." The room erupted again in laughter. Clara felt her cheeks burn, her eyes sting, and though she wanted nothing more than to disappear, she stood frozen in place, her dignity unraveling in front of hundreds of watching eyes. The humiliation peaked during the reception dinner. Laughter roared around her as Daniel's uncle raised his glass for a toast. His voice, smooth yet cutting, filled the hall. He spoke of Daniel's achievements, of the family's legacy, and then, with a sneer, he turned toward Amara. "Daniel," he said loudly, his words dripping with arrogance, "you could have chosen anyone, daughters of wealth, heirs of dynasties, women who truly belong in our circle. But instead, you chose her. Let's hope she learns to keep up with our standards." The guests chuckled, some openly, some hiding their laughter behind champagne glasses, but the sting of the insult was undeniable. Amara froze in her seat, her fingers gripping the fabric of her gown. She felt her mother's eyes on her from across the hall, filled with sadness, and saw her younger brother's clenched fists, his face red with rage. And then she looked at Daniel, the man who had promised to protect her, love her, stand by her side no matter what. He raised his glass and forced a laugh, pretending not to notice her pain. That silence, that cowardice, cut deeper than any insult thrown her way. What no one in that glittering hall knew was that Amara was far from ordinary. She was the only daughter of the late Ayaan Rahman, a man whose name was whispered with respect across continents. Her father had built an empire, Rahman Global Enterprises, a conglomerate spanning industries from finance to technology to real estate, valued in the billions. When he passed away, the empire became hers. But her father had always raised her with humility, teaching her never to flaunt wealth or seek validation through power. "People must love you for who you are, not what you own," he would say. So Amara lived quietly, never flaunting her identity, never revealing her last name unless necessary. Few knew the truth, only her closest advisors and the board of directors. To the world, she was just Amara, a kind young woman with a quiet grace. And so, the groom's family, blinded by their arrogance, had mocked the very woman who held the power to decide their future. Because the truth was, Daniel's family's empire was not as secure as it appeared. Behind the gold and glitter, they were drowning in debts. Their survival hinged on a single lifeline, a $950 million partnership deal with Rahman Global Enterprises. For months, Daniel's father had boasted about it, telling friends and investors that their family was about to secure the most important deal of the decade, one that would not only rescue them from financial disaster but also propel their influence to unimaginable heights. The contract was due to be signed the following week. And the person who held the final authority to approve or cancel that deal was none other than Amara. The breaking point came when the whispers, the laughter, and the insults became too heavy to bear. Amara stood, her chair scraping against the polished floor, and the hall fell silent. She did not shout, but her voice carried a weight that commanded attention. "I came into this family with nothing but respect," she said, her eyes scanning the crowd. "I loved Daniel, and I thought that would be enough. But tonight, you have shown me nothing but humiliation. You looked at me and saw nothing. You thought I was beneath you. But you never once stopped to ask who I am." The crowd shifted uneasily, the laughter dying into whispers of confusion. And then she said the words that shattered the room. "My name is Amara Rahman. I am the daughter of Ayan Rahman, and the current CEO of Rahman Global Enterprises." Gasps erupted across the ballroom. Some guests stood in shock, others covered their mouths in disbelief. Daniel's mother went pale, her glass slipping from her hand. His father's confident smile vanished, replaced by sheer horror. Amara did not flinch. She continued, her voice steady and sharp. "The $950 million deal your company has been waiting for, the deal that would save your empire from collapse, is in my hands. And after tonight, after the way you treated me and my family, consider it cancelled." Chaos broke out instantly. Daniel's father rushed forward, begging, his words stumbling. His mother reached for Amara's hands, tears streaming, pleading for forgiveness. Daniel himself stood frozen, his face a mixture of shame and fear, knowing he had not only lost his bride but also everything his family had built. But Amara turned away, her heart heavy but resolute. This was not revenge, it was justice. In the weeks that followed, news of the cancelled deal spread across the business world like wildfire. Investors pulled out, creditors demanded payment, and Daniel's family empire crumbled piece by piece. The same people who had laughed at Amara at the wedding now whispered about the downfall of the once mighty family. Their arrogance had destroyed them. Meanwhile, Amara continued to lead her company with strength and dignity, her story inspiring countless others who had been underestimated or humiliated. Amara's decision was never about money, it was about respect. She proved that true worth is not defined by appearances or family names, but by integrity and courage. Her story became a lesson to many: never underestimate someone, for you never know the power they may hold within. And now, dear viewer, I turn to you. What do you think of Amara's choice? Should she have shown mercy, or was she right to cancel the deal? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I read every one of them, and your voice matters. If this story moved you, if it made you reflect, then please like this video, share it with your friends, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Be kind always. Because here, we believe that respect is worth more than riches, and kindness is the greatest legacy of all.